everyone. So my name is Sydney Grant. I'm the Marketing and Communications intern with the Northwest Tennessee Local Food Network. And this is Miss Trista Snider joining me today. She is the School Nutrition Director for Weakley County Schools. And we are just wanting to meet today and share with you guys some information about the Support Kids Not Red Tape Act, and some information about that and how you can take action. So, Trista, hello.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining me today. We
Thank
got
you.
we got some good stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we'll just dive right into it. The first question that I will ask you is if you could just give us like a brief summarization of this act. Um, any insights that you want to give about what's going on and what's affecting that?
So, the Support Kids Not Red Tape Act is an initiative that has come out to try to prolong the waivers that have been in place during the pandemic into the 22-23 school year that provides support and some flexibilities for local school nutrition departments. The reason that this is important is because, as you know, if you've been to the grocery store or you've been to the gas pump, um, even though we hope we are going back to a pre-pandemic normal, we hope that we are, on that path, things are not normal yet. We still have supply chain issues. We still have increased costs for basically everything you purchase. And so we are facing struggles. We still have barriers for feeding our nation's kids. And so these waivers help us to do that more effectively. In school nutrition, we have meal patterns that we have to follow. In order to follow those meal patterns, they're pretty strict, they're pretty stringent. And with supply chain issues, they are not as bad as they were at the beginning of the year, but we still have some of those. So sometimes we can't get the whole grain rich items that we need, or sometimes we can't get all of the vegetable subgroups that we need for the week. And so when we have trouble meeting those meal patterns, these waivers come in very handy to mitigate that during those troublesome weeks. I will say, as far as Weakley County goes, we have done a good job of really sticking to the meal pattern, but there have been times when products just weren't available that we needed to utilize those. Now, I will say, probably for our audience today, the aspect that is the most important in terms of this act, and the reason that we would like for parents to consider reaching out to their elected officials and supporting this is because if the waivers do not remain in place next year, the free meals that students have been enjoying for the last 2 years will be going away. So next year we will go back to eligibility categories of free, reduced, and paid if this does not go through. And just as a parent, I can say that I know it has been a huge help for my family. It has been something that has been very beneficial, even for me, to not have to worry about paying sending money with my student for school meals. But I know that right now, the price of everything is going up. And families are facing some economic hardships and hard decisions that they have to face. And so I just have concerns for our families and our school systems that if meals go back to being paid next year, that it's going to be a hardship. Um, School nutrition is not allowed to carry that debt. So we're going to feed kids. Like, that's what we do. We love on the kids, we feed them, we try to nourish them to be ready to learn, and we're not going to stop that. But if parents do not send the money, school nutrition is not allowed to carry that debt. So that has to go off to general purpose. Well, general purpose, which is the overall school district, they don't have money designated for school nutrition. We are a self-supporting budget. So it would encroach on the monies that they already have designated for other items, for teacher salaries, for supplies, for the upkeep of our buildings and our facilities. So it just has it has a substantial effect, or it has the potential to have a substantial effect on the overall system. And so we feel like, at least for one more year, until maybe things really can settle down and become more normal within our economy, that this would be a great thing for us to have for at least one more year.
I love everything that you had to say, and you nailed it, and I think you gave wonderful information that a lot of people need to hear and are searching for answers to questions that they have, and I'm sure you answered a lot of those. I know. So you talked a little bit about how this is going to affect the students and families. I understand, like, there's a lot of behind the scene things that go on with families and in the economy that take effect with all of this, and providing students with free lunches. Um, you said like the increase in prices and like the inflation and everything that's happening, and it's making a lot of people and the school system struggle with providing free lunches to the kids that attend the schools. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things going on, like labor shortages. I'm sure that affects it as well. Could you talk a little bit about if this is applicable and it does have effect on the staff members in the school, or the people that serve in the cafeterias? How does this affect them if if they're not able to, provide those free lunches, or the labor shortages and things like that?
Absolutely, that's an excellent question. Um, the natural inclination would be that participation will likely decrease next year. We've had kids for 2 years that used to be lunchbox kids. That was just their tradition, they did. But hey, it's available, it doesn't cost me anything, I'm going to try it. And they have found that they really like the school lunches we provide. Um, and then, if those children may still be paid, they may revert back to bringing their lunch or just not eating. We do have a lot of students, especially in our upper grades, that just choose not to eat. And we know that that's not healthy. That's not a great choice for them. Um, but if our participation does decline as a result of students having to go back to paid meals, they're going to pay for the majority of the cost of their meal. And so we're only making money if we're serving meals. If students choose not to eat with us for whatever reason, but because we go back to paid lunches, then that reduces the need for labor. If we're not serving as many lunches, we don't need as many workers. Well, I am very blessed to have excellent workers. And as an employer, I want to do my workers right. We work in a very competitive market right now where, everybody's kind of searching for workers and trying to offer competitive salaries and higher wages and sign on bonuses. And so we have to compete in that field too, of trying to offer the benefits that make somebody want to come work with us in the same way that they would somewhere else. So once again, it's a trickle effect. Like, it doesn't just affect one thing, it affects the whole paradigm.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I see how it affects the staff members and the school systems. And like you said, it doesn't affect just one person or one student or one family. It's once it affects one thing, it's a chain reaction.
That's
It's
correct.
like in the whole supply chain, it just starts affecting everyone that's involved with it and that partakes in it. So it's a very tricky thing.
Absolutely.
I agree. So my next question for you, and I don't have too much more, and we'll close this meeting for today. Do you have any data that you are comfortable with sharing with everyone about those that don't receive free lunches right now or in the past, or is there an expectation of who isn't? Like the numbers of students that are not going to be able to get the free lunches if this act is not taken control of, or any data you have to share?
Sure. Let me pull something just real quickly that I had ran.
Absolutely.
Um, so to put things in perspective, this I ran in February. So just um, through February, we had approximately 120,000 lunches that we served to students that would be in the paid category. Um, I really should have ran it for through May, and I did not think of that before this call, to be honest. But yes, we serve a significant amount of meals to students that are in our paid or reduced categories. And for us, what that looks like is the way that it has currently been structured during the pandemic is for every child, no matter what eligibility category they were in, they did not have to pay, and the federal government gave us the reimbursement rate at the free rate, which is the highest rate for all of those students. That's tremendous. That helps so much. It not only helps the families, but it also helps us to be able to provide high quality meals for our students. Um, and just to kind of put things in perspective, pre pandemic, for a reimbursable lunch for a free student, we're looking at $3.75. So even with that, that's a pretty modest amount of money to provide a complete lunch. When you're thinking about 8 ounces of milk, you're thinking about um, usually a cup of fruit, at least a cup of vegetables. In Weakley County Schools, we offer up to 2 cups of vegetables a day. We exceed the requirement. Then you also have the grain and the meat or meat alternate. So when you think about an overall meal and being able to prepare that and pay staff and pay for incidentals on $3.75 per meal, that's already pretty outstanding. But then when you start thinking about reducing those rates, for the reduced and the free, it does provide a strain. And I will say, um, all of our price increases and whatever we decide to do with that does go before the school board. So I can't release any of that information at this moment, but I will say that pre-pandemic, students paid $2.75 for meals. I do not see a way possible to not have to raise that if we go back to student paid meals, because everyone knows the price of everything is going up. And so we actually um, will get our price increases in July. So we don't even know what things are going to look like next year yet. So it's uncertain times. And we just hope that, Congress and ultimately our president will make decisions that help to support families. That's what we're here for. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
so, I guess I would just appeal to this, that if you're a parent, a grandparent, a concerned community member, we all have different political beliefs. And I think that that's what makes America great, that we can all have our own belief and do what we think is the right thing. But I would say that if you are in support of this, reach out to your representative, um, reach out to the decision makers. Because if you don't take action, if you don't say something, they should be working for us. And so if this is important to you, I encourage you to take action. If it's not important to you, then I don't guess you need to. But I think that it's hard to go wrong with feeding our nation's children.
Absolutely. And I love what you just said in your last statement. I just love that. And one thing that I want to say too is something to also take away from the ACT, the Support Kids Not Red Tape Act, and this meeting that we're having today is, it's not just about having enough to eat for the kids. It's also about having good quality food that you're giving them. And then
Absolutely.
it's also about, teaching them how to build a happy, healthy plate is what I like to say. If your plate
Yes,
is, if everything's off your plate and you ate it all, you made a happy plate and it was so good. And so that's something, you want to teach your students and your kids that as an individual, as a family member, as a staff in the schools, you want to teach them how to build their plate in a healthy manner. You want them to have
absolutely.
lots of fruit, lots of vegetables, the right amount of protein and grains that are going to help them grow. And it's all in the development of who they are. And you want them to carry that into their adult life, making healthy
Absolutely.
choices with their food. And I think what you've really been saying this whole time, and it's also in our act on the blog post, and I'm sure you could research it on the internet if you wanted to. But it'll say that, that is something that's very important to teach students and kids. Because if we don't, and if this is not taken care of, and it's people don't reach out and they don't try to take action on this, and this is taken away from the kids, then it could also impact their ability to know how to eat healthy foods. that are going to help them grow and become, wonderful, healthy individuals. And they're going to be able to live long lives and achieve so much in their future. You know what I mean? And so
Absolutely.
yeah, that's something that I would definitely think about too is if we take this away, then it could potentially impact what they're receiving on their plates, because like you said, the high prices and inflation and everything that's going on right now, even though that stuff that's going on in the economy is out of our control, there is something that we can do at home or in the schools, and it's by supporting this and starting here and continuing to go on with that. Do you,
Absolutely.
yes, ma'am. Like, do you have anything that you would also want to share, your personal thoughts or whatever you want people to take away from this?
I think it's also important for people to understand that if we do go back to eligibility categories, if you do not fill out a free and reduced meal application, you are automatically in the paid category. So as we start next school year, there will be a huge push to complete free and reduced meal applications. And that is so that we can capture as many students in the free and reduced categories as possible that qualify for those, because that also helps other programs within our school system as well. Funding is tied for other things with free and reduced numbers besides just school nutrition. So hopefully this will be in place before we start school, but if not, we will still have a push for this. So if you are a parent who is listening, we're getting free meals anyways. Um, but that is an important piece of the puzzle for our school system. So we do ask that you complete that. But especially if we do go back to paid meals next year, it will be very important for those to be completed so that we can at least evaluate and see if you qualify for free or reduced.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that and bringing that to our attention. So, really quickly, I think that was all the questions that I had for you. Go to the Northwest Tennessee Local Food Network.org, our website. If you go to the blog section of the webpage, you will see a bunch of different things pop up. But if you come over here where it says recent posts, I believe, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I believe it is second, the second one. No, I'm sorry, the third one down, the Support Kids Not Red Tape Act. If you click on that, it'll take you right to it. And this will have further information. If you want to just give this little article a read, it's wonderful. It gives a lot of great information. And there's also other websites that you can go to read about this. And I will have other forms of finding information and things like that in the description on Facebook after I post the video. So you can just read that in the description. And then right here we have the postcards and advocacy kit. We have what are the waivers, some questions and answers. We've got tons of things that you can do as families, staff, individuals, even if you don't have kids but you want to support this you can absolutely do that. This is really for everyone to take action on. So you can sign this. It's downloadable, so you don't have to pay anything for it. You just download it and print it out. And then if you keep scrolling down, we have the contact information for the Tennessee government representatives that you can reach out to if you have any further questions or if you want other ways that you can help out with this. So I encourage everyone to definitely take action on this. And Trista, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for all your wonderful advice and information and insights that you shared today.
Thank you, Miss Sydney.
Bye. I will see you later.
Okay, bye bye.